Every racing gamer has their favorite games that never get old. These racing titles aren't just about speed. They're about the thrill of the chase, the mastery of each track, and the heart-pounding moments that keep you on the edge of your seat. So, in this video, we're going through some of the best racing games you can play right now. And hey, if you have any game suggestions, please let us know in the comments. Without further ado, let's start the engine. First up, we've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This game's been tearing up the Switch charts since day one, and let me tell you, it's earned every bit of that pole position. It's like Nintendo took a rainbow, mixed it with pure adrenaline, and somehow made it playable. You've got your whole crew here: Mario, Luigi, Peach, and even some surprise guests like Link and the Inklings. The tracks? Absolutely bonkers. You'll be racing upside down, underwater, and through space like it's no big deal. And just when you think you've seen it all, boom, they drop new DLC tracks on you. It's the gift that keeps on giving, I'm telling you. Now let's talk items. Blue shells, banana peels, and that infuriating lightning bolt. It's all here, ready to make or break friendships. But that's the beauty of Mario Kart, right? 1 second you're in first, the next you're eating dust. It keeps you on your toes. And don't even get me started on the multiplayer. Whether you're doing split screen with your buddies or taking on the world online, it's always a blast. The drifting mechanics? Smooth as butter. Nail that perfect drift boost, and you'll feel like a karting god. Plus, with 200cc mode, you can really test your mettle. It's like drinking 10 espressos and strapping yourself to a rocket. Pure, unadulterated speed. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just looking for some casual fun, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has got you covered. It's the party game that never gets old, the racing game that keeps on giving, and let's be real, probably the reason your Joy-Cons are worn out. But hey, that's the price of karting glory, right? Up next, we have Forza Motorsport. The attention to detail here is absolutely insane. We're talking photorealistic graphics that'll make you do a double take. Is this a game, or am I watching actual racing footage? Sometimes it's hard to tell, but it's not just about looking pretty. The physics engine in this bad boy is something else. You can feel every bump, every turn, every little nuance of your car's performance. It's like they somehow bottled the essence of driving and poured it straight into your controller. And speaking of cars, the selection here is ridiculous. From classic muscle cars to the latest hypercars. If it's got wheels and an engine, chances are it's in Forza. But here's where it gets really crazy: the customization. You can tweak every little thing about your ride: suspension, tire pressure, gear ratios. If it's part of a car, you can probably adjust it. And don't even get me started on the paint jobs and decals. You could spend hours just making your car look cool before you even hit the track. But when you do hit that track, oh boy, you're in for a treat. The racing is smooth, challenging, and incredibly satisfying. You can make it as arcadey or as sim-like as you want. It's the racing game that grows with you, always pushing you to be a better driver. And the tracks? From real-world circuits to fictional speedways, each one is a work of art. Just try not to get distracted by the scenery as you're barreling down the straightaway at 200 miles per hour. Up next is LEGO 2K Drive. Now, I know what you're thinking. LEGO in a racing game? Well, let me tell you, it works, and it works beautifully. It's a crazy, colorful, brick-tastic adventure that'll have you grinning from ear to ear. The world is your LEGO oyster. We're talking a massive open world made entirely of those beloved Danish bricks. And it's not just for show. You can smash through pretty much anything, sending bricks flying everywhere. It's oddly satisfying, like popping bubble wrap, but way cooler. But the real magic happens when you start building your rides. Want to race in a banana car? Go for it. A fire-breathing dragon on wheels? Why the heck not? The vehicle creator is bonkers, letting you build the car of your dreams. And the best part? You can seamlessly transform your vehicle on the fly. The racing itself is a blast, with that perfect mix of arcade fun and just enough challenge to keep you coming back for more. And let's not forget the humor. This game is packed with that signature LEGO wit that'll have both kids and adults chuckling. You'll find yourself taking detours just to explore and see what crazy LEGO shenanigans you can get into. Side missions, hidden collectibles, crazy stunts, it's all here, wrapped up in a bright, blocky bow. LEGO 2K Drive is proof that sometimes the most unexpected combinations make for the best experiences. It's a love letter to both racing games and LEGO, and it hits the sweet spot perfectly. Next up is Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. This game takes everything we loved about the original CTR, slaps on a fresh coat of paint, and cranks the fun factor up to 11. If you've ever wanted to race as a Bandicoot, this is your jam. But don't let the cute characters fool you. This game can be tough as nails when it wants to be. The drifting mechanics here are no joke. Once you nail that perfect power slide, chaining boosts together like some kind of karting wizard, you'll feel unstoppable. And you'll need to be, because the AI in this game doesn't mess around. They'll take every shortcut, nail every jump, and generally make your life miserable if you're not on your A game. But that's what makes it so satisfying when you finally cross that finish line in first. The tracks are a mix of classic courses from the original game and some new additions, all reimagined in glorious HD. And let's talk about the characters. You've got the whole Crash Bandicoot gang here, plus some faces you might not expect. Each character has their own stats and driving style, so finding your perfect match is half the fun. But what really sets CTR apart is the adventure mode. It's not just a series of races, it's a whole story with boss battles, challenges, and secrets to uncover. It's like a whole platformer game wrapped up in a kart racer. And when you're done with that, there's online multiplayer waiting for you to keep you busy for hours. Up next, we have MotoGP 24. Now, if you've ever watched a MotoGP race and thought, I could do that, this is your chance to prove it. This game is the closest most of us will ever get to straddling a 1000cc rocket and hurtling around a track at ludicrous speeds. And let me tell you, it's a white-knuckle ride from start to finish. First off, the attention to detail here is insane. Every bike, every rider, every track, it's all recreated with painstaking accuracy. You can practically smell the burning rubber and gasoline through your screen. But it's not just about looking pretty. The physics engine in this game is something else. Lean too far into a turn and you're eating asphalt. Brake too late and say hello to the gravel trap. It's unforgiving, but man, when you nail that perfect line through a chicane, it's pure bliss. The career mode is where this game really shines. You start as a rookie, working your way up through the ranks, customizing your bike and your rider as you go. And it's not just about the racing. You've got to manage your team, deal with sponsorships, and make tough decisions that can make or break your season. It's like being a real MotoGP rider, minus the physical danger and the fame and the money, of course. But hey, at least you can pretend, right? The tracks are a mix of real-world circuits and some fictional ones, each with its own quirks and challenges. The weather system is also another highlight. Racing in the rain is a whole different ballgame. It's like trying to ride a bucking bronco on an ice rink. MotoGP 24 is not for the faint of heart, but for those willing to put in the time and effort. It's an incredibly rewarding experience. Up next, we have Assetto Corsa. This sim racing gem might be getting a bit long in the tooth, but don't let that fool you. It's still one of the best out there. Why? 2 words: physics and mods. The driving feel in this game is so spot on, you might forget you're holding a controller and not a steering wheel. Every bump, slide, squeal of the tires, it's all there, making you feel like a real racing hero. But what really keeps this game fresh is the modding community. These folks are wizards, I tell ya. Want to race a DeLorean on the moon? Someone's probably made that mod. The possibilities are endless, keeping the game feeling new years after release. The car selection is pretty sweet too, from nimble little go-karts to monstrous F1 beasts. And the tracks? From legendary circuits to laser-scanned, lesser-known tracks, the detail is insane. Now, I'll be real with you, this isn't a pick-up-and-play kind of game. It's got a learning curve steeper than Mount Everest. But when you finally nail that perfect lap, it's a pure joy. So if you're ready to get your hands dirty and really learn the ins and outs of racing, Assetto Corsa is still your best bet, even after all these years. Next on the list, we have Automobilista 2. This game is like a love letter to motorsports in all its forms. We're not just talking F1 here. We're talking stock cars, rallycross, and even futuristic concept cars. The variety is insane, keeping things fresh no matter how many hours you pour in. The physics engine is top-notch, making each car feel unique and challenging. And can we talk about the weather system? It's not just visual, you can feel the difference when those rain clouds roll in. The tracks are a mix of real-world circuits and fictional ones, each lovingly crafted. And the time of day system? It's a chef's kiss. There's something magical about watching the sun set during a long endurance race. Now, the learning curve can be steep, but the game does a great job easing you in with comprehensive training modes. It's like having a personal racing coach in your living room. Whether you're a seasoned sim racer or a newbie, Automobilista 2 has something for everyone. Just be prepared to lose a few hours or maybe days shaving seconds off your lap times. Up next is Need for Speed Heat. This game is pure, unadulterated arcade racing fun with a side of neon-soaked attitude. It's like someone took the 80s, early 2000s tuner culture and modern street racing, threw it all in a blender, and hit turbo. The setting is Palm City, a fictional Miami so vibrant you might need shades. By day, you're in sanctioned races. At night, illegal street races and high-stakes cop chases. The car customization is bonkers. Turn your sleek sports car into a neon-lit, fire-breathing monster if you want. The driving can be described as an arcade perfection. Drifting feels smoother than butter on a hot pan. It's not realistic, but who cares when it's this fun? The cops deserve a special mention. They're relentless, making every chase a heart-pounding experience. The story is there. It's not Shakespeare, but it gets the job done. This game captures that perfect mix of customization, cop chases, and cool vibes that made the franchise famous. So if you want high-octane fun without realistic physics, this is your ticket to ride. Next up, we've got Race Room Racing Experience. This free-to-play sim racer might be getting on in years, but it's still worth your time. Why? The sound design and physics are absolutely top-notch. These engines sound so good, you might want to crank your speakers to the max. It's like they bottled the essence of motorsport and poured it straight into your ears. The physics strike a nice balance between accessibility and realism, making it great for both newcomers and veterans. The track selection is solid, with a mix of famous circuits and some lesser-known gems. Now, the graphics might not win any awards this year, but they get the job done. Where Race Room really shines is in its multiplayer. The competition system is top-notch, with regular events that'll keep you coming back for more. And the best part? You can try it out for free before deciding if you want to invest in more content. It's like a try-before-you-buy deal for sim racing. The modding community has also kept this game fresh, adding new content and tweaks. So, if you're looking for a solid sim racer that won't break the bank and still has an active community, Race Room Racing Experience is definitely worth a spin, even after all these years. Next up, we have Horizon Chase 2. So, 90s kids, rejoice! Remember arcade racing games? This takes all that nostalgia and somehow makes it fresh. It's like Outrun, and Top Gear had a super cool baby. The visuals are a treat, low poly but sleek, with colors so vibrant they might burn your retinas in a good way. We're talking a world tour here, from Tokyo's neon streets to Nevada's sun-baked deserts. Don't let the cartoonish looks fool you. There's some serious racing to be done here. The driving model balances arcade simplicity with just enough depth to keep you hooked. You'll be weaving through traffic, hitting boost pads, feeling like a racing god. The progression is addictive too, starting with a humble car and working up to speed demons. Horizon Chase 2 also has its multiplayer mode where you can use split screen or online, and it's always a blast. And that synth-heavy soundtrack perfectly blends with the game's action. Horizon Chase 2 proves sometimes the old ways are best, especially with a modern twist. It's easy to pick up, hard to master, and guaranteed to make you smile. Up next is Race Driver Grid. This game is the jack of all trades of racing, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. Grid strikes a sweet balance between arcade fun and sim depth. It's accessible enough for newbies, but meaty enough for hardcore fans. The variety is nuts. We're talking muscle cars, open-wheel racers, drift comps, endurance races, you name it. It's like they couldn't decide what racing game to make, so they made all of them. And it works. But the real star here are the AIs. These virtual drivers aren't mindless drones. They're unpredictable, make mistakes, and hold grudges. Seriously, bump a guy too much, he might take you out. This adds a whole new layer of strategy while you play. The damage modeling is sweet too. Every crash leaves its mark, and it's not just cosmetic because you'll feel it in the handling. It adds a risk-reward element. Sure, you could squeeze through that gap, but is it worth wrecking your car? Now, for the career mode, the game lets you build your own team from scratch. It's not just driving, you manage sponsors, hire teammates, and make tough calls. It's like being a real race team owner, minus the actual millions at stake. Race Driver Grid might not be the flashiest or most hardcore racer, but it obviously got a heart. Next on the list, we have Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. This game is like injecting pure nostalgia straight into your eyeballs, but with a modern twist. The tracks are absolutely bonkers. Loops, jumps, boosters, and more orange plastic than you can shake a stick at. It's like someone gave a 5-year-old unlimited budget and sugar, then said, design me a racetrack. And you know what? It works. The handling is arcadey in the best way possible, letting you pull off ridiculous drifts and stunts that would make physics cry. The car selection is nuts too, with everything from classic Hot Wheels designs to licensed real-world cars, all shrunk down to toy size. And the customization? Oh boy, you can create your own liveries, turning your favorite car into a rolling work of art. The environments are a treat too, racing through oversized everyday locations that make you feel truly toy-sized. The multiplayer, both online and split screen, adds a ton of replayability. If you're looking for some lighthearted racing fun that doesn't take itself too seriously, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 is your ticket to Plastic Paradise. Up next is EA Sports WRC. Rally fans, rejoice! This is the official game of the World Rally Championship, and boy, does it deliver. The sense of speed as you tear through forests, deserts, and snowy mountain passes is absolutely insane. You'll be white-knuckling your controller or steering wheel as you navigate hairpin turns and treacherous jumps. The car handling is spot on, striking that perfect balance between challenging and rewarding. You can feel every surface change, every weight shift as you slide around corners. The stage design is top-notch too, with a mix of real-world rally locations and some original courses that'll test your skills to the limit. The weather effects deserve a special mention. Racing in a storm feels properly terrifying. The career mode is great, letting you manage your team and work your way up from rookie to WRC champion. And if you're feeling creative, there's even a stage creator where you can design your own rally nightmares. The attention to detail in the car models and damage system is impressive. If these features is what you're looking for, then you should definitely try this game. Next up, we have Dirt 5. This game might be a few years old now, but it's undoubtedly still a blast. It's because sometimes you just want to have fun without worrying about realistic physics. Dirt 5 is all about the joy of off-road racing. The variety here is insane, from traditional rallycross to ice racing to bonkers stadium truck events. The locations are a globe-trotting adventure, each with its own unique feel and challenges. The weather system deserves a shout-out too. Racing through a sandstorm or a blizzard is properly epic. The handling leans more towards the arcade side, making it easy to pick up and play, but there's still enough depth to keep you engaged. The career mode is surprisingly story-driven, with voiced characters and rivalry building. The game has also received plenty of post-launch support, keeping the content fresh even years after release. But for those who are wondering what's the real star of this game, well, it's the multiplayer split-screen feature. In an age where couch co-op is dying out, Dirt 5 brings back the joy of racing with or against your buddies right there in the same room. It's a throwback to the good old days of gaming, and it's an absolute blast. Up next, we've got The Crew Motorfest. This game is like if Forza Horizon and Need for Speed had a baby, and that baby decided to vacation in Hawaii. The open world here is gorgeous. packed with varied terrain that'll have you racing from beaches to mountains in minutes. The car selection is crazy. With vehicles from supercars to monster trucks to even planes, everything is here, and you can ride all of them. The festival vibe is strong, with themed events that keep things fresh and exciting. The handling strikes a nice balance between arcade fun and just enough realism to keep you engaged. Where Motorfest really shines is in its social features. The seamless multiplayer lets you cruise with friends or join instant races with strangers. It's like a car meet that never ends. The customization is deep too, letting you turn your ride into a unique expression of your style. The game also features regular updates and events, ensuring there's always something new to do. If you're looking for a racing game that's more about the joy of driving and less about shaving milliseconds off lap times, the Crew Motorfest is your Hawaiian racing paradise. Next on the list is Ride 5. Now, if you're into two-wheeled action, this is the game that'll make you want to trade in your car for a crotch rocket. Milestone's latest entry in the Ride series is like the Forza of motorcycle games, and it's that good. First off, the bike selection is insane. We're talking over 200 plus bikes from the biggest manufacturers. And let me tell you, these bikes look gorgeous. But looks ain't everything, right? Well, Ride 5 delivers in the gameplay department too. The physics are on point that strikes a nice balance between accessibility and realism. The career mode is also another highlight, but it's just the same pattern as the other games on this list, and there's a ton of customization options too, both for your bikes and your rider. Now, I gotta mention the tracks, as the game features a really stunning tracks that you can experience. And while we're still talking about bikes, let's not forget Ride on the Edge 3. This game is as close as you'll get to the real thing without risking life and limb. If you haven't seen this game yet, then you're totally in for a treat. It's terrifyingly good and exhilarating in equal measure. The sense of speed is absolutely crazy. When you're hurtling down narrow country roads at 180 miles per hour, you'll be white-knuckling your controller, I guarantee it. The bike handling is top-notch. It's challenging but fair. You really need to learn each section of the track and respect the limits of your machine. What's new to this entry is an expanded career mode that takes you beyond just the Isle of Man. You'll race in Ireland, England, and other locations, which adds some nice variety. The bike customization is pretty deep too, letting you tweak your ride to suit your style. The game also features a visually gorgeous environments, especially when you're racing at different times of day. And the sound design is also great. The roar of the engines, the wind whistling past, it's all spot on. If the previous game is not your cup of tea, then maybe Ride on the Edge 3 could be the one you're looking for. Moving forward, we have Forza Horizon 5. Mexico is your playground, and what a playground it is. We're talking volcanoes, dense jungles, pristine beaches, and there's even an ancient Mayan city to race through. And if you're wondering about the cars, well, it's massive. We're talking 800 plus unique rides, from classic Beetles to hypercars that'll make your wallet cry, and all of them are extremely detailed. But Forza Horizon 5 isn't just about racing. I mean, don't get me wrong, the racing is top-notch, but it's everything else that makes this game special. You've got this whole festival vibe going on, with events popping up all over the map. One minute you're doing a street race, the next you're launching off a danger sign trying to clear a bunch of cacti. It's total madness. The online stuff is where it gets wild. Race with friends, challenge randoms, or just cruise around taking pics. Speaking of which, the photo mode's insane. I even spent way too much time getting the perfect shot of my tricked out Subaru mid-drift. The story's cheesier than a plate of nachos, and sometimes the activities can feel a bit samey. But honestly, when you're blasting through the jungle in a rallycross car, living out your wildest racing fantasies, none of that matters, right? Next up is Gran Turismo 7. This isn't just a game, folks. It's more than that. First up, the cars. Over 500 plus of them, each one modeled with the kind of attention to detail. And it's not just modern supercars. Gran Turismo 7 takes you on a journey through automotive history. Classic muscle cars, quirky Japanese K-cars. If it's got an engine, chances are it's in here. But Gran Turismo has always been about more than just collecting cars. It's about driving them. The physics are spot on, especially if you're playing with a wheel. Apart from that, we also got one of the coolest new features, which is the GT Cafe. It's like a guided tour through car history, with menu books that challenge you to collect specific cars and learn about their significance. It's great for newcomers, but even as a longtime fan, I found myself geeking out over the trivia and historical tidbits. In addition to these features, we also have the robust multiplayer mode, with daily races and championships to keep you coming back. And if you're more of a solo player, there's plenty of single-player content to keep you busy. Plus, the game keeps evolving with regular updates, adding new cars and features. And finally, to wrap up our racing game list, we have Drive Club. Now, I know this game's been around for a decade now, but it still holds up like a champ. Remember when it first dropped and everyone was losing their minds over those graphics? Well, guess what? They're still pretty damn impressive. Sure, it might not have all the bells and whistles of some newer titles, but there's something about Drive Club that just feels right, you know? The way the cars handle, the sound design that makes you feel like you're actually behind the wheel, it's all there. And let's talk about those weather effects. When it starts raining in this game, you'd literally think your screen was actually wet. It's crazy how immersive it gets. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but dude, it's an older game, why bother? Well, let me tell you, sometimes the classics just hit differently. It's like comfort food for your gaming soul. Plus, if you missed it when it first came out, now's your chance to experience what all the fuss was about. And there you have it, folks. Which of these games have you already tried or are planning to check out? If you have any other racing game suggestions, please let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed watching this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching.